Hey everyone, David C. Anderson from the KnifeCenter. We are coming at you from the Artisan Cutlery / CJRB booth. We have some new knives of each, which are becoming available right now. We're going to take a look at those. And we've got some prototypes to throw at you as well, per usual. Or Russell's going to anyway. I'm just going to make snide comments. How are you, my friend?
Doing great.
Good.
It's a good day at Blade Show.
Good. Well, let's start. You want to start with the CJRB or an Artisan?
Well, let's go with the CJRB because we just got one. So, we released this prototype, I believe, last show. This is the Nova, designed by Christian Porterfield. And this is our very first hollow ground CJRB model. Super thin, very much kind of like a minimized tactical style knife. But the more I handle this thing, like just do a little profile side to show how thin this thing is. This is a trim, kind of high tanto, slight little harpoon knife. And in the pocket, this thing is just really light, really easy to use. But as soon as it comes out, that is a nice EDC knife, but it fits a lot of those tactical roles. Kind of gives me like that 90s era tactical kind of vibe.
Okay, yeah.
I think the design is really, it hits it just right. It's just a nice middle ground to these two things. I think the way it's set up is nice. He loved doing the little white pivot collar to add a little bit of offset to the styling of it. And I'm really happy with the final product because it does feel like thin, light, easy to use, but still nice and substantial in the hand. Yeah,
well, like I was going to say, it's going to carry quite nice, but it is a full-size handle and a full-size blade. It's probably somewhere around 3 1/4 plus or minus in blade length.
Yeah, but the weight of that, it's just it's feather light.
Yeah.
You can wear that in a pair of dress pants and barely feel it.
You might get a few odd looks if you pulled this out of your suit jacket.
That's their problem.
We'll leave that for the carbon fiber version later.
Exactly. Yeah, the fancy version. But so that is the Nova. That one is out now in several different colorways, and I'm stoked. That hollow grind, first time doing a hollow grind is something that we have not really stepped into before. I like that it makes it just a really slicey beast or something that doesn't have to have that really deep belly to it.
Yeah. Well, that thickness behind the edge there is so precise. It's not you guys really did a good job of getting right down there.
It's thin.
And then RPM 9 steel on these. Yep.
Yes. All right, so that's the Nova. Let's move on to some of the Artisan stuff. We talked about this last time.
We both like Mr. Laconico's designs. This is a new Ray Laconico.
That's the Revel. So the prototype I showed you last time had, I believe, a stonewash blade. This time we talked with Larry about it. We did a dark gray tie, so that's a darkened tie, blasted blade, blasted hardware. This, I'm not going to say it feels exactly like it, but it really is giving me the vibes of Ray's Customs. I love this a lot. The action's wonderful. The feeling in hand is wonderful. It's thin. It's not what I call light, but it does have a good, comfortable kind of minimal weight. We did swap out the clip. So his original version had a stick clip on it, which a lot of his knives do. We swapped it out for the version that's on the Centauri. So that curved angle clip, which I think sits just right. It matches the lines of the knife. It's really good looking, and I love that kind of the matte, flat gray with the dark tie.
It is a cool combo, yeah.
It's really sexy. It's very much it speaks to me of his custom designs.
Yeah.
Also, I found that with this one, just if I can grab that one.
Yep, absolutely.
Can't say for everyone's fingers, but for me, I can actually get this one to front flip too.
Are you trying to embarrass me now?
Yes.
When I'm not going to be able to get this?
You know I am.
Oh, it's a good thing I like you, Russell.
I know. You got it. See, you did it.
It's a slow roll. It's not quite a flip. I'm going to lunch. See you later. You finish this video.
But yeah, I'm really happy with this. This feels, it feels just right in hand. It feels, because we compared this one with the custom one.
Yeah.
Because that's one of my favorite knives I've ever owned, and this one lines up just right. The slimness, the weight, everything is balanced just right, and it's right. You can't mess with this stuff. His designs have always been so good. As the most, at least in my opinion, his biggest recent hit, the Revel, for me is just this is the peak Laconico design that I wanted to see, and I'm happy we got to do it.
Nice. Well, I like it, especially in your lineup, you've got the Andromeda.
Yes.
So the lines of the handle are a little bit similar, but the blade is going the opposite direction of that knife. You get this big, broad, straight clip point blade. It's
very clippy. That is a clip point.
It's got some attitude.
Got a capital C on that. Yeah, the middle finger flick is the best.
It works quite well,
It's nice.
Dig it. Yeah, I'm liking the color combo. I'm seeing a little bit of this kind of graphite-ish color on some other knives we've seen today.
It's a bit of a titanium treatment.
It's a nice thing.
You still see some of the texture under there from the milling, but it's just kind of a light, just a little bit of a light gray on there, adds a little shine, adds a little bit of a finish.
It's like you still see the metal.
Yes.
You know, it still feels like a metal knife.
It's titanium. It's not like, it's not supposed to be just a big old like chunk of gray.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to the two Kamies. Got two different versions here. So this one is the dressed up version. Got the sand polish finish on there and a little bit of Thai Damascus to add a little something.
Little here, little here, little here.
All that micro milling on the handle feels great, but just for you with Mr. Slightly larger than average hands, just give it a full grip in hand. Yeah.
Just enough space.
Just enough. Yeah. Dirk Pinkerton, the man does magic with handles. I cannot argue. So I'm going to grab the other one here.
Yes, indeed.
So we also have a micarta version. This one just has a stone wash blade along with the green micarta scales. Same with the micro milling in the back, but a plain clip. And I do love this. I'm not really a thumb plate kind of guy, I'll be honest, but I do like this one a lot. The roll is very easy with this one, but I do like the position because it makes for a very easy middle finger flick, which I have never done with a thumb plate. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
but look at the angle. Look at the angle from the handle where you get a bit of that triangular action right there. It just kind of puts your finger in the perfect spot to flick it open.
Yeah, for sure.
And we did alter the blade a little bit, so you have that extra bit of recurve, that little bit of a even more aggressive finish to it. That jimping is really just sitting on your finger, and this thing grips real nice.
Yeah.
Feels great, and of course,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely got the nice thumb cap ability right there. For
I love it. The more I handle this knife, the more I just feel that it just has this character that I like. Like, this is not what I normally carry, but man, this thing feels good. I love it. Yeah,
the recurve is neat. It adds that little bit of extra power to the pull cuts for sure.
And just the amount of blade you get on top there. So where that recurve is and the amount of blade towards the tip, there is a lot of belly on this thing. Like, it is a cutting tool. Depending on what you want to cut.
We won't go there.
Yeah, we won't. We will not. Okay, so
last but not least, for the currently the new production stuff.
So here you go, hand that one too. That is the battle bronze version of the Satyr. Stonewash
again
black.
with those color combinations with the off grays and stuff. I like it.
So black blasted or black stonewash blade and this dark gray finish. And as you see there, we did some titanium milling on the inside, giving it a little like plate. It's our radial milling pattern.
There's almost a hint of like bronziness to this finish too.
It's just that it's got that like ancient bronze kind of look, that really like dark bronze finish. We got that dialed in just right. It's almost like almost like an earth tone bronze, but it's still got a tiny bit of shine to it. And the way this feels in the hand compared to the original Satyr, which I love the original Satyr, but that one feels very much like machine. It's very precise, and there's something about this one that takes that very exacting style of that one and makes it a much more like smooth contoured knife, and it makes it very clean. It's equally clean looking, but it's a different kind of clean. I love the colors. I love the way this turned out. I mean, I've already spoken a lot about the original Satyr, which I'm a huge fan of, but the color combination here really just brings it home.
Yeah, very nice. So I love the lines of this knife in particular.
Yes.
It's just really cool.
Chris Ortiz.
S90V steel.
S90.
Did we talk about steel on the other ones?
S90
across the board.
We love S90.
Edge retention. Excellent. Bring it on.
Good stuff. It's good stuff.
Next up, we got some stuff in the prototype stage
so
to take a look at.
Have 4 CJRBs and 4 Artisans. So let's see where you'd like to start. So, all right, you picked the two on the end here with the Tontos are unnamed currently. Do not have the names for these ones yet, but this one is a really slick button lock. There we go. Okay, want me to hold one of those?
Sure.
There we go. So that first one there, why don't you handle that? I love the way the button's done there because we have that button overlay.
Yeah.
It's cool looking. It's very like high tech. It's kind of like the designer at the factory said that it was inspired by the Cybertruck. I'm like, all right, cool. I see the angles.
Middle finger flicks quite nicely as well.
It's got that long hole instead. That one is also hollow ground with that high Tonto that I really am kind of digging right now. And we currently have our protos in aluminum and G10. I think the G10's been the preference so far, but the aluminum one does give it a bit more of like a, it's more high tech looking.
Sure.
Definitely giving spaceship vibes, kind of Battlestar Galactica, Starship. I can't say Starship Troopers. That's the other direction, but Star Trek. There we go. Yeah.
There you go.
But
yeah, very nice.
Don't have a name for it yet, but I'm liking it a lot, and I really am feeling that button. The action with that overlaid button feels insanely good.
It gives a more comfortable way to actuate it than just the straight button. Not that there's anything wrong with those.
The round button is
different,
but it feels classy. There's something just a very it's high tech, it's sci-fi-ish, but the vibes are good. All right, so
cool blade.
Got to work on a name on that one. Might change up the blade a little bit. There's going to be some substantial changes to that one, so we shall see in the future. Let's pass this one over to you.
You know, I like a good crossbar lock.
Oh yeah, this one is great, especially now. This is one of our larger crossbar. Well, can't say because we have the Prado. The Prado was the biggest one we've done, and that is not a small knife. That thing is a large, thin, slicey knife. But we want something a bit more, you know, trim in hand, but meant to be a bit more, I'm not going to say tactical exactly, but we wanted a Tonto. We wanted a good, dedicated Tonto. And this really does it. It's thin, it's lean, it's mean, the crossbar's good. That hole has a great, I think I might want to make that hole a little bit longer in the final version.
Yeah, because like just holding it, I went to go for the reverse flick, and I'm right.
Yeah, it's a longer knife.
Right up here, yeah.
It's a longer knife because it's more stick shaped. It's not a problem, but it could use just a little bit more length. But I love that blade, and again, hollow ground. That blade shape.
Well, compound ground, really, because you got the flat at the tip. Yeah.
But it's slick. It's got those straight lines to it. This little cut back here, I feel like if we even swapped the studs, it'd still be pretty good. But I like the whole. It
nestles in there quite nicely too with the visual.
The lines are very crisp on this one.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And this is the type of Tonto, like if you're not into Tontos, this still behaves great in everyday carry scenarios. It's not like a chisel-y front end. You got that belly still.
It's kind of like a Japanese Tonto more than an American Tonto. I'm vying to see if we can try doing this with a more American Tonto shape where you get that really like clear double angle, but I really love the way this looks, and it's going to perform in a similar sense.
Yeah, for sure.
So, no name on that guy yet. We're working on it. Next one.
I think this is my favorite thing on the table right now.
I kind of want to make this one a little bit bigger, but this is the Shale, and this is kind of
I like it.
It's kind of it's a step up against the Pyrite. To see for people that found the Pyrite to be a little too slim in hand, this gives that option to have a bit more oomph in the hand, a bit more grip. We want them to all be textured. So we have a G10 version over there too that is also textured. This is the steel version. But I love that blade, that kind of thin, wide blade.
Yep, and getting rid of the choil area from the Pyrite, giving you more edge.
More overall blade, a bit more. It's not like it's a bigger Pyrite or even like, I'm not sure.
Well, it's about the same size, I think, really.
Yeah, it's about the same length, but it's kind of just like it feels more substantial in a way.
That's the word I was going to say. Like, its personality is a bit more butch.
I do want to see about bringing this up to a slightly larger size, but we'll see. The people have been kind of divided on that so far. I mean, we're early in the day still. But some people are like, this is perfect. Other people are saying it needs to be about a 1/4 inch larger. And I'm like,
I think that'd be cool too. I do like this, however, the way it is, but that could be cool too.
But the texture
is real nice.
We got to agree that the texturing, especially on something where you can get all your fingers on that, at least for me, I can get fingers on this one, and really adds that nice bit of grip.
For sure.
I think that this thing feels fantastic.
You've still got that great button lock action. You've still maintained, despite it being a girthier handle, still got a slicey blade. Nice and thin, almost a full flat grind.
Little tiny bit of a harpoon to kind of index where the jimping is. I think it adds just a little bit of flair to the blade itself, and I just like that. It's a wider blade. Yeah. Slightly wider than the Pyrite, and I think it feels very nice. I do like the slight fishtailness to the handle. That little on the end makes it feel very secure in the hand.
It does. It just, like, my finger's not really nestling in there. My pinky, I'm kind of off.
You're kind of gripping it over it.
But it's not, doesn't feel wrong.
Yeah. Whereas for me, if I can grab that one.
Like, it's still a nice, chunky grip.
With me, with my slightly smaller than average hands, I'm getting right at the butt end there. Yeah. I'm just kind of like, I have to kind of like press up to get the jimping, but it's right there. And for me, that feels fantastic. Nice. So that is the Shale. Excellent. That one should be coming out relatively soon. We're still dialing that one in. This is one I'm especially excited for. So I'm going to hand that one to you. This I also like the sliciness of the blade here. So this is a design by Jacob Lanquist. For previously Quist Designs. I believe he still does Quist, but he also goes under his own name now. Had a very good time chatting with him. He is a fantastic machinist, and this is the version. Now, I have been so into this design because, you know, getting a small knife that feels good in hand is a little tough. It is. Like, there are lots of ways to do it, but there's something about that big choil and a very kind of nice round drop point blade that feels nice. But the action on this thing, because of the position of where that button lock is and where the flipper is, this thing has that nice ting when you open it. Yeah, it's got that nice like ting to it because the scales are nice and substantial. I like the scales on this one because it has that nice like, you know, it looks very nice and put together. There's something about this, and I cannot put my finger to it, that feels kind of old school. I'm not sure how to describe it. Okay. I haven't been here that long in this industry, but I'm like, maybe it's the fact that you got bolster front and back with the inlay in the middle. That's kind of a bit of a throwback. Yeah. I love that look, but with the inlay, there's something very slick about this, but in hand, It's comfy. It's a good user. If you're just doing small things like box cutting, I love having a small knife with a big choil because really it's just, I'm in close. I don't need a ton of space to get in where I need. Also, that slightly downward facing angle, this for me
Makes a big difference.
This is exactly what I would like for box cutting. And I have been a huge fan of Jacob's designs, and I really love his aesthetic, and I'm really happy to start, like, I'm really stoked to work with the guy. Like, his stuff is great. And this one I've just been, I was hoping to have this last show. It didn't quite make it. We finally got ready for this show, and I was so worried because the protos got delayed a little bit. So we had a box delivered to our hotel last night. I'm like, oh God, they made it! Thank goodness. But I'm stoked.
I haven't tried front flipping it yet. Let's see how
this
I do.
one should be easy. There you go. Because that front flipper is so high.
It is. It's so far away from the pivot a little bit. Yeah.
It's really easy to use without it being really like, sticking up too far.
Yeah, I agree. Cool.
So that is the version. Yeah, it's hard. I'm like thinking version what? Not the version.
It's version. What version of the version are we versioning right
Exactly.
today? Yes.
Yeah. We'll run into that somewhere. But yeah, love that. Jacob Lanquist. So let's move on to the artisan stuff. So we'll hand this one to you. This is the newest design by Dirk Pinkerton. This is the Banjara. I didn't keep my notes. I forgot what that means, but I do believe it means something similar to assassin or desert or nomad. Traveler. There we go. It's Traveler.
Okay.
Either way, you see the upswept Persian influence on this knife.
For sure.
It's got Dirk's very comfortable handle design, and this thing in hand, again, similar to the Kamie, really is like locking into the hand.
It does, especially with that amount.
Yeah.
There at the back, you've got plenty for your gripping fingers to really grab onto, and you've got the finger guard.
I hate to really nerd up too much on this one, but I picked this one up and my brain was like, Dune, that looks like a tooth.
There you go.
That blade really is very tooth shaped.
Yeah.
And the aesthetics of this are really slick with that. Like, it's got a big butt, a big blade, a very fine tip, and it's really, again, it's an aggressive looking knife that I think works nicely as an EDC if you like something that's really going to stick in the hand. But for larger hands, that butt end really just sticks in there.
Yeah. It does.
Dirk really, the man does magic with handles. I say that to everyone, and I believe it entirely because every time I pick up any of his knives, they feel incredible.
It's like,
Dirk.
Check out that long opening hole in the blade too. Like,
super
you can
long.
get way down there if you want to.
Just any position with the thumb will get it, and it's got the flipper too, so you have options, but I love this. Also, the clip is interesting because you do get a lot of knife sticking out of the pocket. That is intentional for this knife because it's supposed to be easy to grab to get out quickly. It was an intentional choice. I know some people were like, that's gross. No, I don't want to see my knife.
Give me deep carry.
Yeah, it's like, no. There's a point to this, and that's why
and it's
like
over
that.
here.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, I'm
knife humor. Funny.
Sorry.
But yeah, no, I'm stoked about this one. Also, check out the milling. Like, it's got a much
this
more
internal milling right here is really cool too.
The imping. Yeah. Very signature to Dirk's style. Like, he likes having that internal milling, but the way we did the handles with that kind of like that wave pattern.
Yeah.
It looks like ripples. Like, it's like ripples on the dune.
Sure.
I feel it.
Yeah.
I
can understand that.
The whole vibe of this knife is on point. I love it. I'm into it. I'm excited to finally handle it. I'm just like, yep, Dirk's done it again. The man. I can't. Everything he does is freaking good. Like, come on, Dirk. Jeez. All right.
Good stuff.
All right, moving on to a new design from Niche Designs. This is the Cruso. So I just heard from Nick this morning. His whole thought on this was really that this is his idea of a one and done, sturdy, hard use knife. And he's the one who did the Ahab and the Wade-In, both very unique knives in their own sense. The Ahab being an insanely thin, insanely light slicer, and the Wade-In being the strangest version of a modern traditional I've ever seen that looks like it's a traditional from another planet. This one is a lot more in line with things I see Nick really like. When I see him at shows and things he's got in his bag, it's like, I see what you're into, I get it. But this one really speaks to that design. It's heavy, it's weighty, it's got mass to it. That blade
those are some substantial slabs of titanium.
We're probably going
to
mill it out a bit, but he doesn't want it milled out too much. He wants it to have that weight.
Yeah.
Universal. The clip is probably going to be milled on both sides. We only have it milled in one side.
For the sample, yeah.
A simple stick clip and a very straight drop point blade.
Is that a drop or is that a clip point?
Sorry, clip point. Sorry.
Yeah.
Totally messed up on that one. Clip point, my bad. Anyway, it's meant to be a substantial, hard-use knife. On the longer side, not really thick, not overly bulky. Kind of if you were, the Cruso's, Robinson Crusoe. If you were stranded, this knife will do everything you need.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you got a little bit of extra strength from the thickness of the blade there. Slicey enough. It's not. I mean, it's never going to slice like this knife, for example. But he's going for that durability of it.
It is surprisingly chunky for something like this, but it doesn't feel overly massive.
Well, I think the reason I think that is it's not overly wide this way. Like that profile from the side is still fairly trim, fairly compact.
But it is a wide knife. Like this thing's a brick.
Yeah.
Which
I wouldn't say it's a brick, but it's got that chunkiness to it. It's a very comfortable brick.
It feels great.
Comfiest brick I ever held.
Honestly, yes. So that's the Cruso. That one should be coming out soon. All right, here's the one that we're kind of stoked about. So this is from a new designer. He actually won one of our contests online to be in, and this is his first design ever. This is designed by Dustin Rhodes, or Dusty Rhodes. This is the Wizard. And I would love to just have you take a quick look at the detail on this knife.
Well, the first thing I noticed before I even get to that is the appearance of the amount of blade that's actually crammed into this handle.
The blade to handle ratio is wild on this thing.
It's got that visual trick of it seeming like there's too much blade for the handle to handle.
I mean, it's coming all the way down to the tip there. It is a very, very squeezed in there.
Yeah.
As much as possible. But check out the details on it. So the floating backspacer with the holes milled in a specific pattern. I love this little
blockout plate.
That clip insert, that blind screw clip insert is one of the sexiest things I've seen us do in a long time.
Screwed in from the inside, so it's nice and clean. Instead of looking like you're covering a hole, it looks like an intentional element.
It's a little gem.
Yeah.
And then
literally.
and then the curvature of the front flipper, the large studs.
Yeah.
That blade shape, simple but very elegant. The button lock, of course, is fantastic. It's us,
It even front flips pretty well.
Oh yeah, you got it. Well, look at that little curve on the front flipper. Just a little tail to it. That traps your finger in there. It makes it a little bit easier. You get more force towards that very tip of the front flipper.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I love the way it feels. The clip is really thin. I think he said he's going to make the clip a little bit wider. Just a hair, because it's very much like a pen clip.
Yeah, which could be a good thing.
Yeah, but I think he's going for a bit more strength overall, but I like the way that looks already. But this thing is really slick, and for him, this is his very first design. So Dustin, dude, if you're watching this one, good job, man. He was just here. Dude's wearing the loudest shirt I've ever seen. Love it, but
it'll go well with the inlays.
Yes. Oh man, it will. But this thing's great. I'm just I don't have any specific notes, because as much as I was looking at this the first time when I saw the pictures, I'm like, oh neat. It's a simple knife, straightforward, kind of pyrite-esque. It is not. This thing is very different. This thing is a sexy, this is a sexy tool. Again, that deceptive amount of blade to handle ratio, it's got a long blade and it's really snug in the handle, but that is still a lot of blade.
Yeah.
So that is the Wizard.
Nicely done. And last but not least,
all right, this is our first South African designer. So this is the Cleo by Justin Jordan. I have not had a chance to meet the gentleman yet. He is unfortunately not going to be able to make it to Blade Show, but a friend of his is coming by to pick up one of these to bring back to him to South Africa. I like this. This is a little small, hard user, and with the Artisan build and the materials, this one has tie. I think we have some steel protos over there, so we might be running a less expensive version of it. But as a user, as a little box cutter, I like this. It feels good in the hand. It's easy in the pocket. I like that sheep foot. It's kind of
there's a little bit of robustness to it without giving up the cutting efficiency of it.
I think it falls very firmly in the category of friendly knives. This is one you can very easily pull out at dinner, pull out, at a family gathering, pull out, in church. I don't think anyone's going to bat an eye at this, but with the way this is set up, this has a lot of usability behind it, because you do get a really solid purchase on that handle because of that tapering shape. The choil works great. It's right up in your finger. The studs are nice and robust.
The pinch grip is nice as well. Yeah.
It's a very functional tool. And there is, I don't know the South African knife scene as well as I'm used to the US scene, but I do see a lot of things in this one that are very similar to a lot of the design I've seen from South African makers. There's something more focused towards high functionality versus that high flashiness. And it's very it's sleek in its own way.
Yeah.
I really am trying hard to find the right adjectives for it, other than it feels comfortable, functional. It's simple in the best way possible, and it's going to be the perfect tool for someone looking for a small knife that they just want that cutting tool. It's just the perfect tool.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see where this one goes. We're still kind of refining what materials we want to use on it. This one, carbon fiber and titanium is always nice.
Classic look, yeah.
But the steel ones, we have the textured steel, we have steel and G10. So we'll see. But I'm excited to see how the Cleo is going to do.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Russell, thank you so much, as always,
Absolutely. Always
for
fun.
taking the time. Keep an eye out real soon for the first knives we showed you, and a little bit later for the prototypes, but cool stuff.
All right. Thank you, man.
Appreciate it, sir.
Always great seeing you.
Make sure to check out the links in the description. We'll take you over to the Artisan and the CJRB pages, where you can see all the latest stuff from both of those brands. Make sure to check out the rest of our Blade Show coverage. We'll see you in one of those.